Backyard Professor Responds videos back up and running. Welcome, everybody. I have some very interesting news. David Grusch is scheduled, apparently, for an April SCIF, along with Lou Elizondo, Chris Mellon, and others. Could be potentially interesting. I get this from Christian Harloff, Down to Earth. Good news, man. I'm going to share the clip with David Laszlo. And David Laszlo, I don't think that's his first name anyway. Laszlo, let's hear what he has to say, and then we will get with it on some ideas. I want to read some of the comments made about this information on Harloff's channel. I think that some of them are quite thought-provoking. Let's take a listen.
What's up, fam? Quick little update here from beautiful U.S. Capitol on a bright spring day. Got some news for you all, some pretty big news. I just talked with Mr. Burleson about him onboarding Grusch. So yeah, that's happening April 1st. Well, then this is the news. End of April, they want to have a SCIF briefing with David Grusch, Lou Elizondo, Christopher Mellon, and Arrow. Luna confirmed that to me, so did Burleson. I guess Elizondo and Mellon were in town yesterday and they all met. So yeah, wait for it. I'll be dropping those exclusives here in a little bit. Also, talked to Jim Himes, the top Democrat, on Intel about the hiring of Grusch. And guess what? He knew his name and says he's looked into the allegations. I did not expect that out of Mr. Himes. He also says hi to all of you. All right. Peace.
Okay, so they're already moving on this stuff.
All right. Very interesting. Now, the group going into the SCIF, pretty big. Grusch, Elizondo, and Mellon, and Arrow. Now, the new head of the Department of Arrow that Trump put in, we are hoping, is quite cooperative, but being in a SCIF with the Congress could make it so that Arrow has to spill some beans too. Instead of controlling the narrative, they have to share it. We'll see. Everybody lies to everybody these days. Oaths and promises mean nothing in this political society that we have so ridiculously put in charge of our nation. And so we just don't know what the truth is. And that will be our downfall if we don't knock it off. But, I want to read some of the comments on Harloff's page that I think is worth looking into. Really interesting. The very first one, I'm probably going to be disappointed, but I'm stoked for this SCIF SCIF meeting. So this is what we've been waiting for with Grusch. Finally, this is good news. It will only be great news if the information can be shared with the public, and there is the downside. I'm not so sure it can be. We'll see. So, but at least Congress, we hope, is getting more clearly informed, and that's the finger crossing hope, whether we the public are or not. Now Congress, this could be yet another step in giving the Congress the power to get the subpoena power that they need. I don't know why they don't have it right now, but from what I remember, they never got him into a SCIF. I believe they kept getting blocked every time they tried to. I hope this finally allows him to tell them everything. Here's 3 replies. It doesn't matter. It's the level of clearance that SCIF can be cleared to. Anyone can go into the SCIF. The information you're allowed to give or receive once inside is the issue. All individuals must be cleared to the specific level of information and have a need to know. So that could be a obvious serious factor in how much Congress is going to learn. So And then here's a pretty pessimistic view, guys. They will be going into a SCIF to discuss things they won't be allowed to tell us. That is my, I don't know how this works, but honestly, that's how it's always worked out. I don't see any reason or anything changing that at all. Grusch had his clearance revoked to keep him out of the SCIF. I think that's why they hired him on as a consultant to get around the DOD. Now, this is good news if this happened, because it's showing that Congress is serious about getting the valid information that they need. Understanding something, though, and again, I'm going to reiterate this only because I was tagged on this. Excuse me. I was tagged on this issue as well. Grusch is not a whistleblower proper. He does have some incredible information from some inside people, without question. And he was able to share that information. But he himself has never been involved in a crash retrieval or talking to aliens, or as the story from Jason Sands go, being ordered to kill aliens, which interestingly, did you see that interview with Julian Dory with Jason Sands and James Fox? James Fox would have none of the bullshit. He said, no, we're not going that direction. We're not going to even talk about this subject of you killing aliens on orders, because I'm more interested in credibility, not sensationalistic crap. And James Fox actually said on the interview, he said, you mentioned that, I'll walk right out that door. I'm leaving. I want credibility, not your ridiculous stories. It was a pretty tense moment. Quite interesting. Julian Dory had a hell of an interview with those guys. You might want to take a look at that. So anyway, where was I? Let's get back to some of these comments because they are really quite interesting. Dan Zetterstrom said on That UFO podcast, a little known thing is that Grusch is being employed essentially as a congressional aide. So now he's insulated from prosecutions under the Speech and Debate Clause, Article 1, Section 6, Clause 1 of the U.S. Constitution. So that will come into play. Basically, his non-disclosure agreements might be moot. So he's going to be able to put everything that he can't talk about before into the record if he chooses to do so. Quite interesting if that is true. And then just the NDAs are unconstitutional. So why would they go by the Constitution of this article? You signed one of these NDAs, you give away all your constitutional rights. I hope he has security around him. See, this is part of the whole kablooey issue that we've been dealing with ever since who knows when Adam gave Eve the apple in the Garden of Eden. It's just so convoluted, and we hope these people are safe, but they may not be yet. You know what I mean? So there's some tricky here. In usual order, nothing will happen. It's 100% up to the extraterrestrials themselves. Now, I have gained empathy for that particular position. I'm not saying I'm 100% there, but truly, that's. I promise I'm not going to have a jaw-dropping moment if that's the way it happens, right? So our government is just, and this is so unfortunate I have to say this, it's just untrustworthy. And that's bipartisan. That is bipartisan. I'm not bringing politics into it. I'm saying our government is unworthy of us because they always deceive us. Bipartisan across the board. So there we are. So getting in a SCIF is great for finding out about things in this topic, but it's only good for the ones with the clearance that go in. That does nothing for the person into this subject that will not hear what was said with proof of the one giving up the information, unfortunately. And this is kind of an interesting state of view. I fear so too, for isn't it forbidden for ones that were in the SCIF to ever talk about what they heard inside? And so once again, the reason I suspect that we as the public ought to be happy that this is happening and very supportive of this, that it is happening, is not because we are going to get disclosure, but that Congress can learn the issues and be able to begin to acquire powers to solve the problem. It's not because we are going to get disclosure from Congress or from the President of the United States or the Vice President or whoever. That's not what's going to happen. That is probably 99.99% sure. But what this is doing is it's attempt to give the Congress more knowledge, which gives them more power to be able to subpoena the proper people under oath, but I doubt they'd ever keep it. I mean, that's the way our world works at this point. So how far is this going to get us? We truly don't know. It's guesswork, right? So this isn't about you and I getting full disclosure with David Grusch going into SCIF. I promise that that's not what's going to happen. So hang on. This always is going to take a lot longer than we thought. Now, perhaps this might be part of what his name just slipped my mind. I had him on my show a little while ago. This might be what was had in mind for disclosure coming within 42 days. Steve mentioned that within the next 42 days, and this was well over a month ago, we were going to have some kind of a disclosure. Probably, Steve Bassett, probably not full disclosure, but if we count this information coming from a legitimate source, we hope, based on, I mean, it's a secondhand testimony, right? Based on information that 40 so-called insider witnesses gave Grusch, that's not necessarily disclosure, but, and again, the phrase we all love to hate, this is moving forward. I know. See, in football, the football field is 100 yards, and you have to go that 100 yards to get the touchdown. In the UFO football field and disclosure, that football field almost appears to be 1 trillion miles. And we might be moving the football forward 10 miles with this SCIF, but it's not a touchdown. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to be real. Yeah. So anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to share. The good news is Grusch, Mellon, Elizondo are now going to be in the SCIFs, but this isn't about full disclosure to you and I, the public. If anyone tells you otherwise, my advice is be very skeptical. I will believe it when I see it and hear it, and it's not going to happen. I'm kind of the opinion at this point in the game that it will be the ETs, without question. When they're ready to show us, they will. If they ever decide we're worth it. And unfortunately, we're not worth it in a positive light. It will be because of something extremely negatively stupid that we do as a species and as people in power that is going to force the ET's hand to come and put a stop to the utter ridiculous, insane, short-minded stupidity that we always display. That would be my proposal. So, all right. Thanks for watching the Backyard Professor videos and responds. Tomorrow night, I've got a spectacular guest coming on. I'll tell you more about it in another video, maybe either later tonight or tomorrow that I'm doing. And you won't want to miss the Sunday Night Live. It's going to be a whopper. It's going to blow your minds. Very, very interesting materials coming about. So you guys have a great night. I will catch up to you just as soon as I can.